With this week's Taurus new moon and Pluto T-square, it's a bit like burning it all down in order to rebuild it better. Hi all, my name is Haley Comet, this is Magic Monday, and welcome to your weekly astrological forecast for the week of April 21st until April 27th, 2025, and what this week of astrology has in store for your universe. How it is that you will feel these cosmic energies threaded and weaved into your daily life, and true to Magic Monday, how it is that you can co-create with these influences to add a little bit of sparkle to your world, a little bit of celestial sparkle, make things a little bit more magical by flowing with what is rather than forcing against what is not. I am your host, Haley Comet. I'm here every single week in my cosmic corner of the internet with a cosmic beverage in hand or by my side, because I am a hand talker and we have known many a spill here in the cosmic corner of the internet. So my cosmic beverage is by my side, especially since the ground that we are standing on astrologically is a bit shaky. And it's fascinating because the ground that I stand on literally as I record this forecast is a bit shaky as well. As I was getting ready for this week's horoscope, San Diego had a major earthquake. And this week's astrology does sort of feel that way. I'm not literally predicting that there will be an earthquake. But when we think of Taurus season, we think of what is very solid and steady, the ground beneath our feet. We don't think the ground beneath us is going to rumble and shake. There could be something that you think of as very solid, very stable, that shifts. And there's an ask to find your footing regardless. Even though the ground shakes beneath you, your foundation is solid. And you can always refine your center and your equilibrium. And so as we always do, we will dive into this astrology so much more in depth from a thematic and day-by-day analysis. I want to firstly invite you into my Cosmic Cafe. My loves, it's Taurus season. I hope that you are sipping something yummy and delightful. I know that I am. Within my mug here, I am sipping my peach passion tea. It's absolutely so delightful. I feel like when we're in astrology like this, where things feel a little intense and we could be pulled into the future, worry of the future with Pluto and Aquarius. We could be pulled into defending our turf or defending our honor with Mars and Leo. It's important to protect your peace. It's Taurus season, and call yourself back to the present moment. And a lot of times activating our senses is a great way to do that. So even if it's like bringing an essential oil that smells delicious to work that you could sniff if things get a little tense, making yourself a cup of tea when you're getting a little bit stressed, it just helps you to just breathe and take things one step at a time. And so how are we feeling with these energies thus far? I know this fixed T-square can make us feel like we are in a celestial pressure cooker, but it's important to remember we are in Taurus season after all, and the season of the bull invites us to slow down, enjoy the little things, and indulge in the sensual pleasures of being a human being, from delicious scents, smooth skin, languid luxuries. This time of year, and honestly Taurus season every year, always inspires me to spoil my senses, which is why I've been loving Lumi, and I know that you will too. It has never made sense to me that we only apply deodorant typically to our armpits when we have an entire body that is worthy of pampering and smelling clean. Lumi is a whole body deodorant that is skin safe and pH optimized with premium AHA to use anywhere on your body. So you can use it everywhere, from your pits to your privates. Lumi was created by OBGYN Shannon Klingman, and it is clinically proven to block body odor for 72 hours, which, funny enough, is the exact window of time that the Taurus new moon window will be open for manifestation. So with Lumi, you can focus more on your rituals, knowing that you'll be smelling as fresh as a daisy the entire time. You guys know, if you watch Magic Monday, I just got back from being in New York City to celebrate my best friend's birthday, and Lumi was a lifesaver that trip. Because I was sick for a portion of the trip, we really had to maximize the days that I was well enough in order to go outside and to try to make the most of the experience. So because of that, we would leave first thing in the morning and strive to stay out all day. And that, plus being in the New York City humidity and in packed subways, I was so grateful to have Lumi by my side so I didn't have to feel self-conscious about smelling bad as we were out and about and enjoying the city. Because Lumi stops odors before they even start, I didn't have to change my clothes or be paranoid that I smelled bad, so I could focus more of my energy around socializing, connecting, exploring. And to my Venusian fashionistas out there, I am happy to report that Lumi does not stain your clothes at all. I wore one of my favorite articles of clothing, my gold silk skirt, on our busiest day in New York City while wearing Lumi all over me, and it did not stain at all. I received the Lavender Sage Invisible Cream, which is my favorite, smells amazing, the Soft Powder Invisible Spray, the Toasted Coconut Smooth Solid Stick, the Clean Tangerine Acidified Body Wash, and the Cool Cucumber Acidified Deodorant Wipes. So with this fixed T-square building in the cosmos, it's really feeling good for me to be very grounded within my body, anchored within my senses, confident within my presence. It really helps me to feel like I'm taking care of myself from the inside out, and trust me, I think that's what we all need to call it with this Taurus new moon. So if you're ready to take your self-care game to the next level this Taurus new moon, Lumi's starter pack bundle is a fabulous deal for new customers. It comes with a full-size stick deodorant, a cream deodorant tube, or spray deodorant, 2 free products like the wipes or mini body wash, free US shipping, and just for my followers, Lumi is offering an extra $5 off when you click the link within my description and utilize code HCA at checkout. That's a deal of over 40% off. You'll definitely want to check it out if you're looking for something that works, that smells amazing, and makes you feel like the best version of yourself, regardless of whatever the cosmos is cooking up. Head to the link in my description to grab your Lumi starter pack and use my code HCA to take an extra $5 off. Thank you, Lumi, for being an incredible sponsor of this video, and let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So Vibe Check of the Week is a segment here on Magic Monday where we take all of the astrological influences this week and every week, and we compare it to a real life scenario. So we take what Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces feels like, and what a new moon in Taurus squaring Mars and Pluto feels like. We compare the astrological energies to a real life scenario. I'm not saying that this exact situation will play out, but similar vibes and dynamics may surface in a different arena of your life. It's essentially a technique to translate the astrology to real life, to bring it down to planet Earth. It's Taurus season. We got to ground the astrological insights. In this week's Vibe Check, we will say that you are dealing with a one-upper. Have you ever had to deal with a one-upper? A one-upper is someone who constantly needs to let you know if you are celebrating anything, if you have any sort of win, if there's anything that you're happy about, they need to let you know that they did it first, or they did it better, or they did it quicker. Oh, you got those new shoes? Well, I got these ones that are way more expensive and way harder to find. Oh, you got that win? Well, I actually did that when I was 3, like catch up. Oh, your lasagna took 6 minutes to make in the microwave, mine only took 4. Like, they will take even the most mundane events, the most mundane things that don't matter. It doesn't matter how long your lasagna took in the microwave. It doesn't matter how hard your shoes were to find. Like, these are not things that matter. But it doesn't matter what matters. What matters is in that moment, they feel like they won. They feel like they're better. They feel like they're smarter. And they need to prove that to you. They need that to be known. They need to be known that they're better, they're quicker, they're smarter, they did it first, they have better taste, they live in a better place, they're healthier, they're fitter, whatever it is. These are individuals who see everything as competition. And it can be so frustrating when you're not someone who navigates life this way, when you're someone who's more about collaboration rather than competition. Some people love it, like that is what drives them to be their own personal best, is this idea of wanting to be better than the next person, quicker than the next person, fitter than the next person, prettier than the next person, what have you. But for some, it's very tiring, especially if it is a friend of yours. Or we'll say for this week's vibe check, we will say that it's a coworker of yours. Meet Stacy. Stacy, your coworker. And she is the classic embodiment of a one-upper. You sign a major account at work, one that has been in your sales pipeline for months, and you are so proud of yourself. But of course, Stacy needs to come by your desk and mention that she's signing with an account that's actually 2 times that size later this week. You have been saving your paychecks at work to buy this purse that you adore. It's from the small business that you've been dying to support. It's so beautiful, and you finally have been able to invest in it, and you're just so proud to have this testament of your hard work. And wouldn't you know it, a week later, Stacy waltzes in with the exact same purse. But of course, she got the add-on. She got the glittery add-on to hers. Of course, it's always got to be what you're doing and then one more. Even lunchtime, Stacy will get competitive with you. Like, you're there making your tilapia and quinoa, and she comes in and tells you how, tilapia and quinoa actually isn't that healthy, and her lunch is actually way healthier. And, oh, you're running a half marathon? I'm running my 5th marathon. You are getting more and more drained from this constant competition from Stacy on all sorts of metrics, not just work. It's like she'll compete with you on your dating life. She'll compete with you on your friendship. She'll compete with you on your social media. Anything is a viable metric for Stacy to try to one-up you or to prove to you that she's better than you. And we will say, one fateful day, Stacy catches the wrong one on the wrong day. The wrong one on the wrong day, which happens. We tend to think of Taurus energy as being very grounded and very chill, and it is, but to an extent. When enough has been building, Taurus energy will lose its cool. It will lose its chill. Taurus energy can absolutely have a temper, and we will say that is what occurs. And it's because a lot has been layering and stacking within your world. You've been overwhelmed. You've been putting in so much overtime. You've been working so hard. You went to go get your favorite sprinkled donut before work, and your donut shop was closed down. You have a stain on your blouse. You feel like you ruined it. This is your favorite shirt. You're just off your game. You're drained. You're exhausted. You're depleted. You just want to be at work, get your paycheck, and go home. But of course, there she is, noting how your Instagram post got this many likes and noting that hers got double that. And everything within you just wants to scream at her, or even just like take the bait to get competitive with her about something, to note, hey Stacy, I noticed that I actually converted more leads than you last week. Like, you want to play into her game. Like, you want to kind of fight this fire with fire and just kind of feed into this nastiness. You're not about it. You would rather protect your peace, but she just catches you on a day where you're just already so drained that you're just completely over it, and everything within you wants to lash out and crash out at Stacy and ask her, like, what do you want so badly? Like, why do you need this attention and this validation from me so badly? And you so want to feed in. You want to go into the sales software and compare your stats, just find something that you can mention to her that you are doing better, but you bring yourself back. You took my advice from earlier. You have essential oils on your desk, and you smell it. You just come back to center and you say, does this affect my life at all? Does this affect my life at all? If Stacy is healthier than me, if Stacy is getting more likes than me, if Stacy is signing more accounts than me, like, my bosses are pleased with my performance. I'm pleased with my performance. I am not in competition with Stacy. Stacy seems to think that she's in competition with me, but I am not in competition with Stacy. And when you view it from that lens, you can't help but feel bad for her. Like, how exhausting that would be to see everybody else's accomplishments and wins as simply a launching pad in order to prove your own worthiness or your own value. And when you really sit with that behavior and see it that way, you really see that, is Stacy wanting to prove this to you or prove it to herself? How hollow of an existence that must be to feel that your own value, again, Taurus season, value is summarized by your metrics, your stats, your wins. And to be so loud and so vocal, as though if she can convince everybody else of it, maybe she will believe it as well. And you just clock the behavior for what it is. And even though everything within you wants to spend your precious time and energy pulling up stats and mentioning that your half marathon time was this much and you're going on a date with this person, or whatever the little quips that she shares to you. Every part of you wants to feed into that, but you just like witness that that is not the smartest usage of your energy, and you would so rather alchemize this frustration and this tension into your own goals, just focusing on getting your own commission, your own wins. Like at the end of the day, you cannot take the satisfaction of one-upping Stacy to the bank. You really cannot. And typically when she does this with you, which is often, you do respond with some defiance, some annoyance, because she's annoying, obviously. And unknowingly, you have been feeding into it. Not intending to, you never go there intentionally, but you can't help it. Sometimes your pride does get a little wounded when you're told that your tilapia and quinoa lunch isn't healthy enough and your numbers aren't impressive enough. You do have this tendency to feed into it. She does have a way of getting under your skin. But after having this awareness of the behavior itself and what possible motivations, psychological motivations may be underneath, you decide to give her absolutely nothing. To give her absolutely nothing. To deprive her of that reaction that she wants so badly from you. She wants you to dig in when she mentions that her mile time was a minute less than yours. She wants you to dig in and be like, well, when did you calculate that? How much have you been training? Like, she wants you to compete with her. And she wants you to take the bait. And you decide, I'm done. I don't have the energy for this. I don't have the time for this. She tells you how she noticed that her Instagram post got more than yours, and you just like shrug. Like you just stay glued to your computer. Like you absolutely do not feed the energy at all, because it does not deserve any of your time and energy. And the reason you take this approach is because this week we have Venus on Saturn. And Saturn energy makes us get very real around any sort of restriction, any sort of restraint within our experience. Around with Venus Saturn, if I spend this money here, I can't spend it here. If I invest my social battery here, I can't send it here. And Venus is around values. So Venus Saturn is also really clarifying what is valuable to us and recognizing my value is not caught up into Instagram likes and how healthy my lunch is and how fast my mile time is. Maybe that's your values, but I value other things. And my real life is so rich and so full of nuance and depth and love that's outside of this office, outside of these walls. And I need to like dial into what really matters and what I truly care about within this world. And with the Taurus new moon squaring Mars and Pluto, there's a choice point around, are we going to feed into the negativity, which for many of us could be alive this week, the competitive dynamics, the tension, the frustration. Are you going to feed into that, or are you going to alchemize it into what it is that you're seeking to build? Where you're seeking to go, the direction you are seeking to move towards, the trajectory you're on, right? Slowly and steadily. And being able to transmute or alchemize any sort of hater energy, any one-upper, anyone who's trying to compete with you, alchemize it into fuel on your own journey, not getting caught up around battling in competitions that you're not even really in. Like at the end of the day, it does not benefit your life, your bank account, at all to compete with Stacy. Maybe you get a small ego payoff, but that fades. And the thing about Pluto energy being involved here is that Pluto is bottomless. You know, with Mars opposite Pluto, this could be wanting to win something at all costs. Wanting to win this one-upping battle with Stacy at all costs. Around, she came in with that purse from that small business that you bought from with the Sparkle edition, and within you, now you want to get the one that has rhinestones on it too, the next level. And then she comes in with the next. Like that game and that pettiness can be bottomless. It could be endless, and it can take place at all costs. It doesn't matter how much I spend on these purses. And if you feed too much into that, you can become someone that you don't even recognize. Like noticing yourself one-upping and being competitive, trying to compete over cars and Instagram likes. And you're like, this isn't even who it is that I am. Like I'm competing in a game that I truthfully have no interest in whatsoever. Like this is not me. And we have to be cautious when we do engage in these petty disputes and one-uppers and competitive hatery energy, because we can watch ourselves evolve into someone that we are not. And yeah, some of us might be in the middle of some darkness, some heaviness, some hatred, some competitiveness, some intensity with these Pluto energies, but it's important not to become it yourself. And really with Pluto energy, to see wherever possible you can transform, transmute, alchemize, and hone in on what it is that you want to build, what seeds you want to plant to bloom and prosper. So we'll go ahead and take it into our day-by-day astrology. I just want to remind you that all times that I mention are PDT, that's Pacific time zone. So please adjust to your local time zone. If you're located elsewhere in the world than there are also timestamps below should you feel called to jump to a particular day or jump back to a particular day. You're also welcome to play with the playback speed by hitting the gear icon here on YouTube to speed me up, to slow me down. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, April 21st. On Monday, April 21st, the moon is in Aquarius all day long, which draws our awareness to our friendships, to the groups and communities that we are aligned with, to our humanitarian hopes, dreams, and visions for the future. And there could even be a focus around wanting to communicate about these topics with the Aquarius moon sextile Mercury in Aries at midnight. And this could show up around writing, recording, sharing, or even just putting a funny joke into the group chat, something like that. There could just be a focus around wanting to connect with other humans who are on the same wavelength as you, even if it's a very unique, authentic wavelength. You know, Aquarius and Aries are two signs that are very true to themselves. So there just could be a focus within your Monday, whether it shows up in big or small ways, around just not wanting to step out of integrity or authenticity around the unique individual of who it is that you are. You know, it's Taurus season, we are prioritizing our peace, and who really has the energy to pretend to be someone that they are not? And that's where it gets important to witness, whether it's in a dynamic with Stacy or any other dynamic within your world, where it is that you get pulled out of your own energy or your own self. It's really important to be sovereign within your own energy and emitting your own frequency rather than allowing yourself to be pulled by Stacy wanting to compete with you here, this person trying to pull for a reaction here. Like, it's important to stay true and stay you, I would say. And that's really guidance for the whole week. I do want to share, though, that on Monday, while we do have this subtle but harmonious aspect aligning at midnight, I will let you know that you could be feeling some fraught energy on Monday. And the reason for this, so yesterday we had Sun square Mars exact, and now Sun is getting closer and closer to square Pluto, which it does midweek, and then Mars will oppose Pluto this Saturday. And this is that fixed T-square that I've been communicating with you about. And since we're under the sky of this fixed T-square building, you could just feel some of that tension. We had the last quarter Aquarius moon last night, the moon aligned with Pluto last night. And so you could have felt the Sunday scaries last night, and today you could be feeling the Monday mopes, whatever you want to call it. There just could be some intensity, some frustration. Things could be getting under your skin. Again, somebody could just catch the wrong one on the wrong day. Like, there could just be annoyances and frustrations alive within your world, whether that's big picture things, because Aquarius moon does draw our awareness to like big picture collectively, just the infuriating injustices and what is going wrong and like the power struggles that are alive. You could be feeling very tense about that, or even just minor things around, how have I been on hold for an hour listening to this horrible playback music? Or why did this brand new lemon juicer that I just bought break? Like, there just could be things that it's like, ugh, this is so annoying. I should not have to be on hold for an hour after work. A juicer that I just purchased should not have broken just because I dared juice a lemon half that was a little too big for its liking. Like, there could be things that are getting under your skin, and that could be big or small, but I just want to highlight that that is alive within your Monday. And the invitation really, especially with it being Taurus season, is to breathe. Take things one step at a time. Again, stay you, stay true, stay you. Sometimes when we're in a frustrating circumstance, we feel ourselves pull into a version that we're not necessarily proud of. Like if you've been on hold for an hour and that individual comes on the other line, I'm sure your energy towards that individual may not be as sparkly and as charming as you typically are. Like sometimes there's just situations that sometimes evoke a different version of us. Or let's say at your kid's soccer game, if another parent is yelling at the ref around a certain call, you might find this fierceness comes out of you where you're like, where did that come from? That's not me. And sometimes when there are these circumstances, sometimes a different version of us comes alive, whether that's like a fierceness, a frustration, a sassiness, things like that. And sometimes it's rightful. Sometimes we look back and we're like, gosh, that customer service person did not deserve my sass. It wasn't their fault. I was on hold for an hour. And the encouragement is just to recognize and clock when it happens and pull yourself back. And maybe even a lot of us will be asleep for this, but with the Aquarius moon sextile Mercury in Aries, like pulling yourself back, like talking yourself through it, like really observing what is coming up and even observing your own behavior, talking yourself through it, talking yourself down. Because when we have Pluto energy alive, things can feel like the end of the world. And we know logically it's not the end of the world if we're on hold for an hour. It's not the end of the world if the lemon juicer breaks, but Pluto energy can be so fraught and so tense that it can feel that way. And maybe even if big picture things in our life feel out of control, these small things just stack and layer to this overall sense of powerlessness. And so it's just observing it when it happens, and maybe with the Aquarius moon sextile Mercury in Aries, maybe put it into a voice note with a friend, journal about it, talk yourself down, and just know, as with all astrology, this too shall pass. On Tuesday, April 22nd, I want to take this opportunity firstly to wish you all a happy Earth Day. I always say I spend all of my days and all of my time talking about all of the other planets, but Earth is my very favorite one. It's a beautiful planet. Let's all do our part to protect it and preserve it. And I love that Earth Day falls during Taurus season. How aligned is that? But to get into the astrology of your Tuesday, April 22nd, the Aquarius moon trines Jupiter in Gemini at 4:04 a.m. So I really feel with Monday, Tuesday's astrology, yes, there's tension alive, but you know, sometimes when there's annoying situations, the humor that can come of it can be quite healing. The jokes within the group chat, the memes that you share, like sometimes these tense situations are just like the perfect conditions for humor or any sort of levity, really. Or even with the Aquarius moon trining Jupiter in Gemini, appreciating the bizarreness of it or the weirdness of it. Like, yes, the situation with Stacy is annoying, but when you step back and look at it, you're like, it is kind of funny. Like, this is so bizarre that this grown woman went out and researched the small business that I purchased my purse from in order to buy the ugly sparkle version just to one-up me. Like, that's weird and that's kind of funny. And so it's seeing only if it's available. Again, everything that we're navigating is showing up at bigger or small levels, but seeing where it is that you can laugh about it, crack a joke about it, or see where it is that you can learn from it with the trine to Jupiter and Gemini. After that, the Aquarius moon sextiles Chiron in Aries at 10:56 a.m. PDT, a reminder that sometimes finding the appreciation for the absurdity in life can be healing, or laughter can be healing, connection can be healing. We all are in this together. We're all under the same sky. We're all on the same planet. And a lot of these situations, there could be a lot of dissent and frustration and competitiveness and just like hater energy. The haters are coming out this week. The haters are coming out. And when you're around that, you can forget how much love is alive on this planet, or even just like the camaraderie, the community, just how it is that we are united within these energies around all of us as we're under the same sky experiencing these collective astrological themes. We'll experience it in different ways and different nuances, but tapping into the threads that make us feel connected, that make us feel aligned, and honing in on that. You know, this week, it's very important to strive wherever possible to feed the good and starve the bad, because the more that we feed the bad, the more bottomless it is. The more bottomless and ravenous it is. With Mars opposite Pluto, we just seek to compete with Stacy on mission this month, and then now we're pulling in deep and we're competing with her on cars and all of these things. It just is like endless. And naturally, as human beings, we are more likely to tune into the bad versus the good. And anyone else who is a content creator can affirm this as well, that you will receive all sorts of like lovely, supportive, beautiful comments or people sharing their experiences and how their experience aligns with what you're sharing within your content. And you'll recognize that and you'll feel that and you'll feel seen for that. But the comments that will stick out, are the ones that are not as nice. Like naturally, we are more tapped into a lot of times the negative rather than the positive. Same goes if you have a work review. You will likely be harping on that one comment, that one arena for improvement, and gloss over all of the other positive comments that they made. And of course, that's just life. We can't have the good without the bad. It's not saying that we could be all love and light all the time, but there is an ask this week to really be conscious around pulling energy towards what you do want rather than feeding what you don't want, like fighting against what you don't want, because a lot of times we just get more and more ensnared into it. And it's much better to hone in on positive action around, I'm just going to focus on my paycheck and my peace and what it is that I have going, because this is not a battle I'm particularly interested in. And with the energy of Aquarius moon sextile Chiron Aries, it just speaks to how healing it can be to feel connected to other humans. So even though you could just feel like you're seeing the ugliest parts of human nature, just their hatred and division and things like this, don't forget the connection that is alive around you, whether that is online, the individuals that you make eye contact with as you're navigating daily life. This can be healing, and it's more subtle of an energy. We're more likely to hone in on the loud hatred rather than the soft love and connection, but there's an ask to do just that. And I got to keep it real with you and say that Tuesday's astrology is not giving the most productive day that ever existed. You could be feeling some like good energy in the morning time with Aquarius moon trine Jupiter and Gemini, wanting to connect and share and research or something like this. But then at 2:55 p.m. PDT, the Aquarius moon will square Uranus. So your Tuesday could have some shock waves, some surprises, whether that's surprising emotions, surprising events, something surprising being put into the group chat, something like this. And then the moon's void after that point. So strive to get a bulk of your work done after that point. You could just be feeling restless, jumpy, unsettled. And the moon will enter Pisces that evening at 10:07 p.m. So we have like a 7-hour void moon. Closing aspect is the square to Uranus. So could be great for a spontaneous adventure, getting out of the office early if you could swing it. And then with the moon entering Pisces, you can be more tapped into the transcendental field, to your spirituality. On Wednesday, April 23rd at 10:10 a.m. PDT, the Taurus sun will square Pluto in Aquarius. And even though this is where the aspect exacts, these Plutonian energies are absolutely not limited to just Wednesday. We have Mars opposite Pluto over the weekend, fixed T-square building, and that fixed T-square is pulled into the new moon in Taurus. So much of this energy could be alive in much of your week, but to get specific on the sun square Pluto of it all. Sun represents our ego and our identity. And with the square to Pluto, there can be something humbling occurring currently. And again, Pluto is like this vicious monster that's never fully fed. And Pluto does have high vibrational qualities. We'll talk about it. But Pluto is bottomless. It's intense. It's tunnel vision. And when we talk about Sun square Pluto, the demands from our ego will never fully be satiated. That's why it's like Stacy was never satisfied. Her wins, her craving of validation and winning, it was never satisfied. It's like she felt cool for a second because she signed a bigger account than you this week, but then you walked in with the next week with a fresh blowout, and now she needs another hit. She needs to go dye her hair blonde so that she feels like her ego is satiated. Like our ego will just be hungrier and hungrier if we are reliant on propping ourselves up on these material trappings or being seen within a certain light. It will never be enough. Stacy will be consistently seeking out another hit, another affirmation around, tell me that I'm worthy, tell me that I'm valuable, tell me that I'm good enough. Feed me, feed my ego. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting to, I'm sure, deal with people like that. I'm sure it's exhausting to be someone like that. And it's just recognizing where you can do this as well. around if really great things are happening within your business or within your relationship, feeling really good about yourself. But then if something not good is happening, feeling horrible about yourself, like allowing your sense of self to be plunged into the depths of hell or the heights of heaven, dependent on what is happening. And of course, we're human beings. We're going to be affected by a great day at work, bad day at work, great day within our relationship, bad day within a relationship, whatever it is. Of course, we're going to be affected by this. But it's not tethering and anchoring your entire sense of self around these fundamentally shaky arenas of life. If we see ourselves as worthy because of our success in business, we are hinging and weaving our sense of self fully to that. And then we are at the whim of its own highs and lows, feeling like a god and amazing if things are going great, and feeling like the worst if things are not going as well. And existing within these extremes of just like the highs and the lows, find your footing, find your stability, stabilize yourself. You know, tomorrow is when Venus aligns with Saturn. What is valuable to me? Who am I? That's really what pulled you out of that conflict with Stacy within the vibe check, is tuning into, this isn't me. And this isn't what gives me confidence. Like, this is not my identity as the girl who always has the coolest bag and the girl who gets the Instagram likes. Like, that's not where I tether my sense of self. And I'm not going to feed into that because it'll be endless. It'll never feel to be enough. Seeking validation from the external world is always going to set you up at a disadvantage. The highs might be high when you do feel like you're winning, when your ego is being fed, when you're winning, when you're on top, but things are constantly shifting. So it's really almost like betting on a losing horse, so to speak. Not that I bet on horses. But truly, this external world, things can change at any particular moment. And I share that not to scare you, not to ignite more fear alive in the cosmos. Sometimes Pluto energy could do that. But it's just recognizing things can change at any moment. Today I was just getting ready for vibe check and all of a sudden my entire apartment was shaking. We could have some sort of new regulation passed that changes our business altogether. We could have all of our fancy clothes in a suitcase that gets lost when we go on a trip. Like, the cycles and the process of loss and rebirth and letting go is inevitable within this experience. And it's all around building a very solid sense of self so that you don't go with it. Where you don't lose your sense of self when your business is no longer as profitable as it used to, or you don't know who it is that you are without your, fancy items or fancy things, or you don't know who it is that you are without this relationship. Sense of self doesn't go with it. Because if you see yourself as worthy or powerful because of your successful business, you'll forget to tune into, I'm the one who made that business a success. Because when you recognize that came from your own life force energy, you can recognize that you can replicate those results. Where if something unimaginable happens and something changes within your business that you have to reset, you have to shift gears, you'll be able to. You were able to build it once, you can build it again. When you hinge it around, I am worthy because of this, when that goes away, you're like, who am I? Am I even worthy any longer? If I felt like I was worthy because I had these nice things and now all of a sudden they're lost, I forget that I'm the one who worked hard in order to afford those things, and if I, got them once, I could get them again. Pluto energy is reinvention energy. And some of us might be in that tower moment or be burning something down. Pluto energy is very that. It is very that. There could be something that you are destroying, something that you are letting go of, something that's letting go of you. And it's important to know your own resilience, that your life force energy is what initially called that into be, and you will be able to rebuild it. You will be able to move forward, and you are not defined by your external world or the power of your external world or the things of your external world, because as we know, those things are not as solid as we would tend to believe a lot of times. And it's just being very conscious. I'm not saying you have to go into every business or everything within your life with this mentality that you could lose it one day, but it's just being very present in the now, because that's what Taurus season asks us to do, while also recognizing that your power does not come from the external world. Your power comes from within. And when people have an outer locus of control, they find their sense of control or power in the external world. If their metrics are just so, if their wins are just so, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. You will feel destabilized within your own world because you are investing your energy on something that is shaky. Like, you can count on you. You can count on you to rebuild. You can count on you to reinvent. You can count on you to keep going. You can't count on the metrics to be as they are. You can't count on 100% your mile time being better than Stacy's. Like, these external things are not the horse you want to bet on. Why do I keep saying that? Again, I don't bet on horses, but bet on yourself is what I'm saying. Bet on yourself and have an internal locus of control around, regardless of what life is throwing at you, you've got this. You can begin again. You can start again. You can let go of the past and build something new. And with the energy of Taurus Sun square Pluto, there could also be this awareness that things are changing. Again, your favorite donut shop could have closed down. It's like these things that we think are solid and are always there. It's like things are changing, and there just could be almost even a nostalgia around the way that things used to be, the way that things were, and a resistance to the way that things are evolving to be. You know, Taurus is an energy that's typically very defined within its preferences. If it finds a donut shop that it likes, that's the donut shop that they go to. If there's a comfort meal that they like, that's what they go to. And there might be something that's been very consistent and solid within your world that is going through some sort of change. The yoga studio you always go to is closing down. Like, this world is changing and evolving, and it could just be disrupting your overall sense of security and stability. And there even could be layers of grief alive in big or small ways. I mean, grieving the donut shop, grieving the yoga studio, grieving the past, grieving who it is that you used to be. Sun speaks to our ego and identity. So there also just could be this awareness around the ways that you are transforming. And sometimes we do miss who we used to be, right? There are some things in life, some Plutonian things in life, like trauma, things like loss, things like, toxic relationships or things like that, that fundamentally change you as a person. They just do. You are not the same person on the other side of it. You're truly not. And sometimes we can grieve and just want to go back to who it is that we were before. Pluto energy, it's a transformation, it's an awakening, and while we typically come out the other side of a personal Pluto transit or, collective Pluto transit as a little bit of a more jaded version of ourselves, we typically have a more real understanding of the world. Like, Pluto speaks to kind of darker forces within this world, and you can be aware of those things without letting them consume you, right? Not letting the darkness that you've experienced consume you, like consistently transmuting towards the light, staying close to your light. Sometimes we miss who it is that we were before certain experiences. We miss our light. We miss how naive we were. We miss how trusting we were, or something like this. And it's not to say that you can't grieve those sides of you, but it's also like witnessing who it is that you are on the other side of this. Like, you are wiser for it. You are more knowledgeable because of it. You are more aware because of it. You have more depth because of it. Like, it's a painful metamorphosis a lot of times when we speak about Pluto energy, but it is recognizing that who it is that you come out the other side is a transformed version of you, but it's not to say that it's a worse version of you. In fact, it's typically a shrewder version of you, a more strategic version of you. And you can clock the Pluto without becoming the Pluto. And I say that because Pluto is like our psychological motivations. And with the experience with Stacy, it's like you clocked it, right? You saw it. You saw it. You saw her motivations and her trying to one-up you, and you just saw it. And maybe you, in other seasons of your life, you would have been naive. You would have felt like you were crazy. You would have been like, gosh, I just feel like I can do nothing right, and my coworker does everything better than me. You would have like made it a you thing. But it's like, because of life experience and just unfortunately being awakened to the reality of how some individuals operate this planet, there's just this awareness around, I see it. And I don't need to sink to that level, but I see it. And sometimes that is a gift to being to the other side of Pluto energy, is that now you understand that these Pluto forces are out in the world. It's not saying you have to become it. And in fact, hold tight to your light, your trueness, your generosity, your values, who it is that you are. Hold tight to that. Don't let this world take that from you. But once you do have experiences that kind of awaken you to these dynamics, whatever they may be, how manipulative people can be, how competitive people can be, how vengeful people can be, how evil people can be, even. We want to get intense with it. Like once you are aware of that, you can clock it. And it helps to be able to clock it and see it, because then you don't make it a you thing, right? With Sun square Pluto around, gosh, I can't do anything like Stacy, I feel so bad. Or like, gosh, this person makes me feel A, B, and C. Or gosh, I keep giving to this person, they keep taking. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? It helps you not internalize it around, that is just how other people operate. I can clock it and just not become it and protect my energy from it around, I have no interest in feeding into this weird game that you're playing with me, and this attempt to be able to fuel your own ego. That must be exhausting to be you. That must be exhausting to be you. And really, I just want to share that just in case anyone has gone through a brush with the Plutonian type of situation within your life, some sort of power struggle, someone who betrayed you, someone who manipulated you. Know that if you got out of that situation, you get to be you, and that person has to be them. Like imagine existing with that much hatred or that much need to have an ego filled. Like that must be an exhausting way to live. And it's Taurus season. There's so much fruit to eat and flowers to smell and movies to watch and genuine conversations to have and laughter to have and cats to cuddle. Like who has the time for that? So again, you don't have to engage. People might be trying to fight with you or start things with you. You don't have to engage. Just clock it. And the moon is in Pisces all day long, which of course can make us feel more emotional, feeling our emotions and everybody else's more intensely. And with this energy alive, as that Sun square Pluto energy builds, you could be just responding very emotionally. Like, you know, I'm not going to judge you if you need to shed some tears in front of the closed down donut shop. Listen, that donut shop was there for you in so many trials and tribulations. Like, it's so destabilizing when something that we turn to, even if it plays a very small role in our life, is transforming, is changing. Like we think of this outer world as static, and sometimes it's very unsettling when something like that changes, and to like wonder what the man who runs the donut shop, like where's he gonna go now? I didn't get to say goodbye. Like you could just be moving through some emotions around any sort of change within your world. And again, this also could be just the ways that you have changed as well with Sun square Pluto. Grieving prior versions of you, being pulled into the future version, but also missing who it is that you used to be or what your life used to look like, or something like this. There is an invitation to be here now. Okay, come into the present moment around, okay, the donut shop is closed. How do we pivot? You know, and maybe the Pisces moon will have some sort of miracle or some sort of magic within your Wednesday where you just drive from the donut shop and you're like, universe, show me what I should have today. And you just stumble upon a perfect muffin shop that is perfect for your day. Again, not like a utter replacement to your donut shop, but at least you get a delicious baked good within your day. Thank you, Spirit, for nudging you to that muffin shop or whatever is alive within your world. You could just find little bits of just like synchronicity, follow your instincts. You could be led to some really beautiful places, especially the Pisces moon will sextile the Taurus sun at 4:14 a.m. I want to let you know that we have a sensitive moon currently, and we are also building to the Taurus new moon over the weekend. So you could feel more inclined to hermit, to withdraw from the outside world, to be in your own energy. You could be feeling everything more intensely and really just wanting to protect your peace. It's Taurus season. On Thursday, April 24th, at 5 p.m.-ish, Venus in Pisces will align with Saturn in Pisces for the third and final time. This has been very much woven into the Venus retrograde story, and really Saturn has been asking us to get real. Get real. You know, currently Venus is of the utmost importance as we are in a Venus-ruled season, Taurus season. Venus is now direct and in exaltation, so Venus is thriving, but with Venus aligning with Saturn, it's thriving with the reality check. It's thriving with the reality check. getting real with our finances, getting real with our aesthetics, getting real with our relationships, and getting real with our boundaries. And Saturn energy can be helpful for enacting, enforcing, defining, limiting, structuring. And this was representing the vibe check around you just enforcing, I'm not doing this with you, Stacy. I'm not doing this with you. And you know, Venus within astrology, it's considered a very sweet planet. And with Venus on Saturn, it's like, yeah, there needs to be some structure to my sweetness. There needs to be some limits to my love, right? With Venus in Pisces, this can be a very like kind of selfless, giving energy. And with the energy of Saturn, it's like, I'll be compassionate to an extent. I'll be sweet to an extent. I'll keep up our somewhat friendly coworkership to an extent. And it's knowing that that needs to occur, because as I was communicating about yesterday, Sun square Pluto, sometimes we can get pulled into situations where we no longer recognize ourselves. We get very jaded. We get very awakened to people's nature and people's motives. And sometimes it can lead us to stepping outside of the integrity of who it is that we are. And again, there's just an invitation. If you notice that you do that, come back to center. You can always begin again. Pluto energy reminds you of that. You can always refine your footing, find your stability. You do not need to become the evil that you've endured or the cruelty that you've endured. But in order to not become it, you do have to protect your heart, protect your sweetness, protect your kindness. You know, after this Pluto awakening happens, it's our responsibility to say, okay, now that I know the reality of how some people operate, there will be different standards that I have, boundaries or expectations that you have for yourself in order to understand that. With Venus on Saturn, you deserve your sweetness, you deserve your kindness, you deserve your compassion. And a lot of times, if you are not being discerning and intentional with where you are pouring your energy into, where you are giving your kindness, where you are giving second chances, you will watch yourself become someone that you are not. You will watch yourself feel more bitter and resentful, which of course happens to the best of us, but you can always like refine your footing. I think that is kind of a journey that most of us go through around being very kind and open-hearted and believing the best in everyone, and then being very jaded, being pulled into some intense situations, and then being incredibly guarded, and then we find a middle, right? We find a middle. We come back to center, because of course, if you're still in like the throes of healing, there is kind of a season of like preservation that you kind of just go into, because you're like, I don't know what is safe, I don't know who is safe, but you do kind of find your footing, because you deserve your sweetness, you deserve your compassion, you deserve your kindness, you deserve that magic within yourself. Do not let the darker forces of this world win by allowing that to be diluted. It just requires boundaries and just really checking in on yourself and being very intentional around what feels good, what does not feel good, as well as just clocking it if you see it. If you have been giving a lot of second chances to someone, lending a lot of money, seeing the best, the energy of Saturn, clock the reality of it, right? And adjust your boundaries as you see fit. And another way that this was alive within the vibe check was this clarification around values. What other people value will not be what you value. Win your own race. If you allow other people to decide what is valuable and important to you, you will be at the finish line of a race that you never intended to win. You'll be like, okay, great, I won a track meet, but I have this heartfelt desire to play basketball. Like, what am I doing? I wanted to win so bad that I wanted to win at any cost, and I wanted to beat my competitor, not realizing that I am in the wrong sport. I'm in the wrong race, right? And we win our own race or get to what it is that we desire, whatever our goal is in life, to live a happy and fulfilled life. I think that's what most of us aim for, to have an impact, to be kind, to help, what have you, whatever your why is. It's important to dial into that, what it is that you value, because you will get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses or competing with other people, feeling like you have to make certain life steps because that's what other people are doing, feeling like you need to consistently grow your business because more equals better, not recognizing that sometimes more can lead to more stress, more unhappiness. You don't want to get pulled into a race that you never signed up to run. And that is what will happen if you don't define what is valuable to you. Like, you felt yourself in the vibe check almost get caught up around allowing your sense of self to be rocked by, she did get more Instagram likes than me, and she does have better shoes than me. When you are engaging in that, you won't even recognize, wait, I don't care about Instagram likes. I literally don't care in the slightest. I really don't care about shoes. It's like, this is not what's valuable to me, and I actually don't value your opinion of me at all. So why would I care? There could just be this energy around really clarifying what is important to you. And that's why at your office, you were like, what's important to me? My dog, my family, my friendships, my this, my that. Like, that is what I value. That's what I'm putting my energy into. That's what I'm investing into. I don't really care. I don't really care about all of this. So I'm going to withdraw my energy. I'm going to restrict my energy from the social dynamic because I don't particularly value what it is that you value. And people are going to come for you this week. I just have to be so for real. People may come for you this week. And this could be, just small jabs from family. This could be people on the road. This could be comments in your comment section. Listen, some people are going to want to fight this week. Okay, I just have to say it. We've got some Mars energy. There's a lot of stubbornness, right, with all of this fixed energy. And it's important whose opinion you value. Don't crash out because you got one hate comment from the username A Lucky Chihuahua 212. It's actually kind of a fun username. I hope that's not a real username. That just came out of my mind. Don't go harass that person. Let's say A Lucky Chihuahua 212 is going off in your comments about this, that, and the third. You can feel yourself be pulled into this conflict and want to clap back, but you have to come back. Do I particularly care what A Lucky Chihuahua 212 has to say about me? Or if a coworker is critiquing everything that you do I particularly care? Or if a family member is critiquing something that you do I particularly care? My mentor would always tell me, don't take criticism from someone you would not take advice from. And if it's not an opinion that you value, it's truly not worth the energy. It's not worth the energy to give. As much as you could feel inclined to defend yourself to that family member or defend yourself to A Lucky Chihuahua 212, it's like just recognizing that your best revenge, your best win is living a happy and fulfilled life and focusing on what brings you happiness and fulfillment and not feeding those who are wanting to fight with you if it's not an opinion that means something to you. Now, with Venus-Saturn, there could be some sort of conflict alive within your world where this is someone that you value. And with Venus-Saturn, it asks you to really do the work on this particular connection. And if there is a conflict, where can we transform this dynamic? Where can we evolve beyond it rather than getting stuck in the same ruts? There might be something that's been ongoing. Venus is still clearing its post-retrograde shadow. Mars is still clearing its post-retrograde shadow. So there could be a familiar dynamic. Like the situation with Stacy, it's been marinating. There could be something within your marriage, within your relationship. It's been there. And maybe there's an opportunity. How can we evolve beyond it with Mars opposite Pluto this weekend and Venus on Saturn? How can we do the work on our connection in order to evolve beyond this pettiness of fighting? Because Mars opposite Pluto could get petty. So it's important to avoid that this weekend. And with Venus and Saturn, be very clear around, what do I value about our relationship? What do I value about you? What are we seeking to build here? And overall, there could just be an energy and alive around restriction and lack. You could be feeling a little financially confined currently. You could also just be feeling a little lonely. We're in a waning crescent moon, so the choice to withdraw might be your own, but there just could be an energy around feeling like no one's blowing up your phone and not feeling very popular or not feeling very loved or something like this. It's natural, even if you don't care about Instagram likes, it's natural to be like, dang, does nobody like me? Like, nobody liked this cute photo of me drinking my lemonade? Like, what on earth? It's natural. You might just feel like you're not getting a lot of validation or love from the external world. In fact, you didn't really get any nice comments on the Instagram post. Someone just could have said, that lemonade looks disgusting, with Mars opposite Pluto building. And you're like, dang, there could just be something like that. And Venus is what is pleasurable, what is sweet. And there just could be an energy around feeling like life is a little spiky, feeling like life is a little hard right now. There's not enough time in order to enjoy the sweetness of life or to slow down, even though that's exactly what Taurus season wants to do. And the moon is in Pisces all day long. The moon squares Jupiter in Gemini at 8 in the morning. So you could be a little bit like a butterfly, kind of flitting from flower to flower, a little distracted, but amused by different projects or different ideas, but having a hard time of focus or commitment to any of them, at least to start your day. We do have the Pisces moon sextile Uranus and Taurus, being open to moments of spontaneity, moments of serendipity. Again, the donut shop was closed. You're craving the donut shop, going through the motions, but then you found this muffin shop, or even just witnessing the ways that spirit shows up for you, even when you're in the depths around, maybe you're having a little bit of a meltdown in your car, but you look up and you see 222, or Stacy is mouthing off about this, that, and the third, but you remember a certain transit that's happening within your chart that you see alive currently. Like, sometimes spirit just gives us those little nudges, those little whispers that let us know that we are supported in what it is that we're navigating through. And that evening, the Pisces moon will align with Venus and Saturn. So this could be an energy where you are having a discussion with a lover around what we want, what we're building. Someone out there might be having like a what are we sort of talk or something like this. People could be talking about their finances or looking into, buying a house or saving to buy a house or something like this. There just could be an awareness around what it is that we are building within our relationships, within our finances, something like this. Outside of that, Saturn energy could make pleasure seem a little harder, but sometimes we have to put a little muscle into it, right? Around being very intentional around calling in joy, calling in pleasure, calling in comfort, We don't arrive to these lovely, luxurious moments on their own. It does take us being intentional around setting the tone, creating the ambiance. If you're going to make a nice dinner, light a candle, play a nice record, find those opportunities to infuse life with a little bit more loveliness. And after that alignment of moon to Venus around 8 p.m., the moon is void. So even though there's a little bit of somber energy, a little bit of heaviness with the moon on Saturn, moon on Venus, this could be a really lovely evening to get lost in an album, get lost in a show, get lost in something lovely, get lost in dreamland. On Friday, April 25th, the moon enters Aries shortly after midnight, and it goes on to conjoin Neptune around 2 a.m. So your dreams could absolutely be fascinating at this time. Trust your gut, trust your instincts as you contemplate certain symbols that are alive within your dreams. What immediately comes to you as you dive into it? I've been vocal about this before. I have my moon in the 12th house, so my dream life has always been very rich and very intense. And lately I've been really making a conscious effort to recall my dreams and just really sit with the symbolism of it, and even just the emotions of it, how I felt on the various parts of the dream. I know some people get bored hearing about people's dreams, but I had this dream that my suitcase for some reason was being transported by boat, and it was meant to meet me wherever I was at. And I just so happened to take a swim in the ocean. And as I was swimming in the ocean felt so lovely and so nice. And I'm swimming, and then I see a shirt float by, and I'm like, that's my shirt. So I grab it, and I'm seeing my belongings float by. And it just so happens that I swam up to my suitcase that was almost completely submerged. I guess it had fallen off the boat. Which many people could look at that dream and be like, gosh, that's bad luck. Maybe a bad omen is coming your way. But in the dream, I was just so stoked. I was like, I found it. I'm so happy I found it. And I kept thinking that I had lost more than I actually did. I was like, oh, but my makeup bag, that must have sunk to the bottom. But then when I got to my destination, my makeup bag was already there. I really didn't lose all that I thought that I did. And it was just really this nudge around, even when things feel like they're out of place, that suitcase did not belong in the ocean. That's not where it was meant to be. And sometimes life does that. We lose our suitcase. The donut shop closes. There's a random earthquake. Sometimes things happen and we're like, whoa. But that dream just inspired me around trusting that I will have what I need. Even if something happens, I will magically happen upon the shirt from the suitcase. That's at least the meaning that I'm taking from it. So I would encourage you with any dreams that you may have, you know, with this Neptune aspect, or really any Neptune aspect tends to like kick up our dreamland, really tap into like your instincts. Like Aries talks to like our instincts, like what comes to you when you contemplate some of the symbolism within it. Friday morning would be such a great day for a workout that makes you really feel yourself. Like a workout with like the playlist that makes you feel your best and feel your most confident, as the Aries moon will trine Mars in Leo. So hype yourself up, move your body, feel good about yourself, transmute some of this Mars opposite Pluto energy. This is building to exact tomorrow, so you could feel it alive today. And Pluto energy can yank us down into petty conflict, wasting our energy for what? For what? To one up Stacy? I don't care about Stacy. Just kidding. Love you, Stacy. It can go there, right? But Pluto energy can also be like transmuting it, transforming it. So like going into the gym and being like, I need to be so much hotter than anyone who has ever wronged me. And again, maybe that's the initial fuel, and you don't need to put energy towards people who wronged you, but that's the fuel that you put into a workout for you, right? Like ultimately, you are your own competition. Like with Mars and Leo, you are your own competition, and being your best self and living your most aligned life, that is your aim. That is your race. And sometimes, you know, we have haters, we have doubters, we have one-uppers, whatever. Don't engage with them. Use it as fuel to focus on your race. Win your race. And it could be very powerful to transmute any sort of like frustration or anger into, I'm going to put this into a great workout, or I'm going to put this into being the most successful that I could possibly be. You know, when you've been wronged, someone has done you wrong, there really is this energy source that you pull from, because you just pull into this energy around, oh heck no. Like you just get mad, you get motivated, and you really just all of a sudden need to 10x your income and get your master's degree and buy a house and make your dreams come true. And again, at the end of the day, you do it for you, but sometimes it could just be this fuel where it's like, I can either allow this experience to sink me down to become just the feelings of shame or frustration or blame or whatever it is. I can either allow myself to be sunk with this, or I can allow myself to rise, to use this to catapult my own journey. And working out is a great way that we do that. So Friday morning could be a really great day to get a workout in. I know some of you do that every morning, but if you're like me and you have a couple a week, Friday morning for sure, with the Aries moon trining Mars in Leo, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. And then that afternoon at 3:04 p.m., the Aries moon aligns with Mercury in Aries, who is direct. And this is interesting because typically before new moons, we feel pretty drained. We feel pretty depleted. There could just be an energy around wanting to rid ourselves of things of the past, emotions of the past. Things can come to the surface to be swept away. A lot of times that is a emphasis before new moons. But there could be something that's inspiring you or igniting you. New ideas, brainstorming. You know, it is so powerful to be in that space of creation or initiation even. If you are in the process of this major, you know, tower moment some of us could be experiencing with the square to Pluto, or just like this metamorphosis or this major change or transformation, like I said, that could be a catalyst towards your own, you know, growth and leveling up and what have you. But it's also so powerful how in that movement, because again, when we're in a season of life where there's a lot of energy, like that's a lot of fuel. And I think a lot of times all of that growth happens because if we consider that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it can simply be transformed. It's like that grief, that heartache, that fear, whatever it is, like it has to go somewhere, right? It has to go somewhere. And so when you can transform all of that energy that you're sitting with, all of that intensity that you're sitting with, into something that works for you, into something that benefits you and behooves you, it's so powerful. I would just say with the Aries moon aligned with Mercury, pay attention to what ideas, like inspired new ideas, or even conversations that you're having that's making you inspired for the new. On Saturday, April 26th At 6:05 p.m., Mars in Leo will oppose Pluto in Aquarius. And this aspect has been alive within the overall Mars retrograde story. And so there might be an ongoing tension or an ongoing conflict that has been alive, or just a simmering frustration beneath the surface. And again, Pluto energy can go to extremes. So it's just being conscious of this. As you navigate the weekend, you could deal with some tempers. And again, if someone does have a really big reaction towards you, it could be coming from a place that's very deep and intense, which again is not that it validates it whatsoever. But with the energy of Pluto, it kind of speaks to things that have been like kind of simmering and building. And we also have the Aries moon aligned with Chiron. So there could be individuals, crashing out and lashing out from an inherent feeling of unworthiness, powerlessness, deep frustration, not feeling powerful in the bigger scheme of their life. So this is like one situation, which scenario that they are trying to feel powerful over. Like I said, when you could just clock that, it takes away the temptation to want to play into their game, right? Because a lot of times people want to feed off of that, right? Like they say misery loves company. Like if someone's operating at a lower vibration or in this vibration of just like anger and disgust and hatred, they will want other people to meet them there. They will want to engage. They will want a certain situation where they can kind of pull you down to their level. And that's where it's important to clock it and not allow it to consume you, not allow it to get the better of you, to resist when people are trying to get you to compete with them or to feed them energy at all. Like I said, it's typically louder and more noticeable. Hatred and negativity, positivity is a little bit more subtle, it's a little bit more beneath the scenes, and sometimes you can expend your precious energy towards the negativity, responding to, the one hate comment rather than all of the positivity, the 99 positive comments, or the one negative that you got in your review as a yoga instructor rather than all of the positive comments. And again, having a Saturn transit this week tunes into, we don't have energy to give everywhere, right? Every place that we invest energy, that's another arena of our life that we're depleting it. So if we decide to feed all of our energy towards the one person who took our yoga class who hated it, we are depriving all of the people who loved our class who we could have had a genuine conversation with. Like, why would we feed the one negative and deprive the positive? So it's just being conscious of that as you navigate your weekend, really, with this Mars opposite Pluto energy. And wherever this kind of like competitive energy is showing up, because this can also be very subtle. You're at a social gathering and someone mentions that they're getting married abroad and you feel some type of way. They're not even meaning to one up, but you just feel a little competitive around, should I marry abroad? The encouragement is not to internalize it or take it personally or make it a story about you. Again, win your own race, compete in your own race around what it is that you value and what it is that you want out of this world and what makes you happy, okay? Maybe a wedding abroad is not something that you value. Maybe a better mile time is not something that you value. Like, you can't win every single race. Like, be realistic around where you can invest your energy. If you invest it here, you cannot invest it there. So you have to be very intentional around where you're investing it and not feel like what other people are investing in is what you need to be investing in. And I say that because the Aries moon sextiles Jupiter. So there could be some good vibes to start your day, or like an openness, a playfulness. And then the moon aligns with Chiron at 2:33 p.m., which Chiron is the comet of the wounded healer. So there could be sensitivities triggered around, why aren't I getting married abroad? Or I'm not good enough to get married abroad, or things like that, that at the end of the day, you don't even really value. Or again, other people and their gloating and their pride and their successes making you feel some type of way about yourself. Be conscious of this. Clock it when you see it. On Sunday, April 27th at 12:31 p.m., we have the new moon in Taurus. And this new moon lands at 7 degrees Taurus. So you'll want to see where within your chart you have 7 degrees Taurus. Even if you do not have any Taurus placements, you do have a Taurus territory of your chart, and you'll want to see where 7 lands in that, because that's the life arena that is optimal to plant seeds, to make intentions, to do any sort of manifestation rituals. And it's interesting, this Taurus new moon is positioned between the Mars opposite Pluto. So it almost feels like Taurus moon is kind of like the mediator between this tension. And it feels, because Taurus is very grounded, it's very earthy, it's very sensual. It feels like being aware of the tension, the conflict, the competitiveness of Stacy without allowing it to consume you or detract you. With the energy of Taurus, this speaks to your values, what it is that you want to plant, what in your life you want to bloom and prosper. And not allowing yourself to be knocked off course by races that are not even your own. And if there is tension alive in your world, frustration alive within your world, alchemizing that, using that as fuel to continue to build what it is that you want, what you desire, what brings you comfort and pleasure and enjoyment, what allows you to connect deeper into the present moment. There's an invitation to do just this with the Taurus new moon. So as I stated earlier, it's considered that the new moon window is open for 72 hours after the new moon exacts. I like to work with the new moon on the waxing side because that speaks to things getting bigger and just some overall guidance. But again, let your intuition propel you. But with the energy of Taurus, it can be incredibly aligned to work with plants, work with herbs, work with the physical world, and just trusting in the timing of things also. Taurus is a very patient sign. Trust in the timing of your life. Don't allow other people and their wins and their competitiveness make you rush the process of your own unfolding. Like, hate to be corny, but nature never rushes and everything unfolds exactly as it's meant to. And what would it look like if you allowed that same patience, that same pace within your world? You know, it's like cooking pasta. We could try to rush cooking the pasta, but the noodles are going to be ready when the noodles are ready. We could plant, strawberries and try to rush it and force it and say, look how fast the tomatoes are growing. Come on, strawberries. But the strawberries are going to grow when the strawberries are going to grow. And same goes with ourselves. So don't allow yourself to be rushed by other people and their timelines and their wins, because you are on your own trajectory. What would it look like to be very patient and very present within the current season of your life, trusting that it's leading you to where it is that you want to go? Witnessing and being aware of those situations that kind of pull you out of your own energy or that make you feel competitive or that make you feel like you have to compete, while also just grounding down into what it is that you are building, what it is that you are creating, what it is that you are growing for your world. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I find my footing. Again, whether it's a literal earthquake or just things in our life that just catch us by surprise around, whoa, this makes us feel a little unsteady sometimes when there is change, transformation, when we do get pulled into conflict or competitive dynamics or things like that. And of course, we will experience things in life where sometimes we show up in a way that's not fully in integrity with who it is that we are. We've all had some phone calls to customer service representatives that we're not particularly proud of, or some moments on the road that we're not particularly proud of, right? We can strive to be the most integral, aligned version of ourselves. Sometimes there will be situations that pull us out. Sometimes a comment that Stacy makes will quit back, right? But it's just finding your footing, refinding your balance around, okay, that was not fully me or in alignment with what it is that I'm about. Let me find my footing. Let me dial into what makes me feel stable and anchored and grounded in the now. And knowing from that space, regardless of what is changing and evolving around you, which PS, a lot is and always will be, you're solid, you're stable. And sometimes those things that we lean upon, that we find very steady and stable, sometimes those shift as well. But it's all around dialing into what is stable. So if you made it to the end of the forecast, go ahead and comment below the donut emoji to let me know, or use the word donut within a sentence. I would also love to know, what is your favorite kind of donut? I love the donuts with white frosting and sprinkles on it. Those are my favorite. And just a fun fact about me, donuts are my favorite food. ever. I don't have them too much, but I just adore any opportunity that I get to have a donut. They're just so nostalgic, and there just truly is nothing better than getting a donut for like $1.25. The best places are always cash only, okay? Cash only. Getting a donut for $1.25, a hot cup of coffee on an early morning. Ooh, that is the combination that could make any cosmic alignment feel more doable. Any cosmic alignment feel more doable. Any Mars aspect, any T-square feels more doable with a sprinkled donut and a coffee in hand. But maybe you have a different donut preference. My Instagram handle is at Haley Comet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. I want to give another thank you to Lumi for sponsoring this video. A reminder that you can get your Lumi starter pack by clicking the link within my description and using the code HCA. And that will give you $5 off. So that's like an extra 40% off. Now, so make sure to check that out. I know this astrology has many of us sweating, but we'll be smelling great with our Lumi starter pack. So until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.